Every technique in jiu-jitsu has a setup, an entry, and a finish. The triangle choke is commonly achieved when I'm trying to armbar my partner and my partner doesn't want me to get their arm, so they pull their arm out. And that's not the only setup for a triangle choke. A triangle choke can occur anytime my partner has what we call one in and one out. That's one arm inside the guard and one arm outside the guard. So I don't want you to think this is the only setup for a triangle, but it's a very common setup, particularly for beginners. So if I'm in the guard, and I'm trying to attack Dave's arm. Now, during the armbar video, we talked about the mechanical advantage that allows a smaller, weaker person to defeat a stronger opponent. So I want two hands on one to attack Dave's arm. Often when I'm getting ready to pivot for the armbar, if I'm not careful and keeping my leg in tight, my partner can rip their arm back. So in this case, what I do is I retract and step on both hips. So you see I have 2 feet on Dave's hips. I'm gonna push off this hip, my right leg off of his left hip, and lift my own hips into the air. My leg chops down like an axe chopping wood and brings Dave to me, and I immediately lock the triangle. Now I can't choke him like this, because when you choke someone, you want to pinch off both of their carotid arteries. This leg over Dave's shoulder is going to be the choking leg. You can see all the space here between his shoulder and his other carotid artery. In order to make this happen, I need to get this arm across so that his shoulder comes in contact with his carotid, choking him. But I don't want to let him out of the triangle first. You notice what we talked about before, with one arm in and one arm out. Whenever this situation happens, you can have a triangle choke. So I'm going to lift my hips, go to his elbow and to his wrist, and as I drop my hips, I drag this across. You notice how that brings his shoulder much closer. But there's still all this space, so I have to take care of that. In order to make sure that Dave can't posture out of the triangle, I have to control his head and my own shin inside of my leg. So that now, if I unlock the triangle and Dave tries to posture up, he can't get out. Whereas, if I just open to try to cut my angle, he can posture up and I've lost everything. So my hand goes to his head and to my own shin. Now, I have to pivot. It's called a triangle, not a try right in front of the guy. So I step on his hips. Notice that I'm parallel to Dave. I'm going to try to get as perpendicular as possible. From here, I'm going to lock the triangle, and I'm going to try to touch the insides of my knees together as my foot angles out. And I should be able to finish like that without any kind of pulling of the head. A lot of times guys will pull the head if the triangle is a bit too loose. But we want to drill everything smoothly and technically so that we hit all the details, so that in a real life situation, if you miss a few of the details, it's still going to work. So let's start by attacking the arm. I'm going to try to pivot with and if I was really going for the armbar, my knee would be here, so that structurally he'd have a tough time extracting his arm. But a lot of times when you're grappling, you know, things happen and things are more loose than you want. Or maybe you're just trying to set up the triangle. So we let him pull his arm up. Feet come to the hips. Shoot my hips up. If I just try to lock my triangle here, Dave can posture up very easily and I have nothing. So instead I want to bring my hips to him. Pushing off of this hip, chopping down. You see how that has the effect of breaking his posture. Again, my whole weight is hanging on him. I lock my legs. We're not going to choke him here, but we just want to make sure that he can't extract and swim this arm back in or pull this arm out. I'm going to lift my hips, go to the elbow and the wrist, and as I drop my hips, drag across. Come behind his head, grab your own shin. You don't want to grab your own foot, not only because your foot can bend, but also because it doesn't give you a place to lock the triangle. So I grab my own shin. Step on the hip, angle out. I'm going to keep it a little bit looser this time so you can see some of the other details. Choking with the triangle is all about closing off space between my legs. So that when I lock, what I do is when I try to pinch these knees together and watch my right foot as it angles out, that closes off this space. Now, you'll see a lot of times when people have looser triangles, either because their partner was resisting effectively or because they didn't hit any of the earlier details, you see them grab and pull the head. And of course that can work. But when we're drilling in practice, we definitely want everything to be drilled slowly, smoothly, and making sure that you're hitting all the details on the triangle choke.